Frankfurt's main station area has been Germany's most talked about street scene for years.
Germany's federal government has released its second homelessness report, revealing a significant rise in the number of homeless individuals.
But seeing it up close hits different.
The German government claims there are just over 250,000 homeless people across Germany. The Federal Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs classifies homelessness as
because it sits beside normal life. You can feel the tension in your chest before you look down the street. You step out with commuters and tourists, and in seconds you notice it's not everywhere. It's the same few streets, the same corners, the same tight pockets. People lean forward, sway, and walk short loops like they're stuck on a track. The same doorways fill up. The same curb edges collect people. People call it a simple choice, but it isn't. So what is the city really building here? What is it trying to hide? And who pays when the scene shifts? What you are actually looking at. If you've ever wondered why Germany's zombie hoods keep getting worse, the answer is hidden in routines and access. The first mistake is thinking it's one drug and one bad choice. Usually it's a pileup. It's no sleep plus being high. It's hunger plus panic. It's untreated pain plus withdrawal. It's stress mixed with whatever someone can get, mixed with the pressure of living outside. In early 2024, Germany's federal report counted about 531,600 people without housing, and about 47,300 sleeping rough or in makeshift spots. Timing matters too. These scenes flare at certain hours. Early morning, late afternoon, and late evening repeat the pattern. People regroup when shops open, when money moves, and when crowds make blending easier. If someone is trying to avoid attention, they learn when a street is busiest. If someone is chasing relief, they learn when sellers are active. To outsiders, it looks random. Inside, people know the rhythm. There's also a truth people miss because it isn't dramatic. A lot of people you see aren't outside every night. They bounce between a short stay, a sofa that runs out, a temporary bed that ends, and then back outside. Some still try to work. Some still try to keep a phone. Some still try to make appointments. That effort is invisible to passers-by. The street mostly shows the moment stability fails in public. What makes it feel worse than you expected is the contrast. The scene sits right next to normal life. Commuters, tourists, students, families, those worlds shouldn't overlap. But when housing is tight and support is slow, they overlap on the same pavement. Seeing it daily creates anger, fear, and numbness. None of those reactions fix anything, but they push the debate in predictable directions. Why it forms pockets instead of spreading out. It doesn't show up everywhere. It clumps basically in small spots that get known. Then those spots get more eyes on them, then more complaints, then pressure. And the cycle gets tighter. A pocket happens when three things line up: access, cover, and survival basics. Access means you can get there without paying for a ride. Cover means you don't stand out, because strangers are normal. Survival basics means toilets, water, cheap food, and somewhere to rest without getting moved on right away. When those three line up, the street becomes a magnet for anyone who's slipping. Not because they love the chaos, but because the chaos comes with tools to survive. There's a reason too. If you're outside, you can't waste energy on long walks. You save your strength. You do short loops. You stay close to places where you can fix problems fast. If your phone is dead, you need a plug. If you feel sick, you need a spot to sit. If you're hungry, you need something cheap. If your body is shaking, you need relief now. A pocket is where those needs can be met in minutes, even if it's unsafe. And it's not just the people there shaping it. The city shapes it too. When benches get removed, people sit on the ground. When public toilets shut, doorways become bathrooms. When lighting changes, people move into darker corners. When a station adds barriers, the crowd shifts to the next open passage. Pressure finds a gap. That's why the same blocks can look worse than the rest of the city. It's not that those blocks are cursed. It's that the city has, often without meaning to, turned them into overflow space. Once that settles in, the place gets a reputation. The reputation brings more filming, more complaints, and more tension. Then the pocket is harder to unwind, because every move gets judged by two audiences at once: people living there and people watching from the outside. Now we get to the district everyone uses as a reference point, not because it is the only one, but because it became the symbol people use to argue about the whole country. If this breakdown helps, subscribe now, because we track what shifts, what gets hidden, and what keeps returning across Germany's hotspots. The station district that got turned into a warning. You feel it before you even put a name on it. You step off the train and the vibe changes. People grip their bags tighter. Shops look like they're bracing for trouble. Security stands there, eyes scanning. A few steps in, you spot the cluster. Groups in doorways, people posted on walls, quick chats that start and end fast. Only after that do you hear what everyone calls it. Frankfurt am Main, near the main station, has been talked about for years because the street scene is so visible and so close to normal life. The shock isn't that it exists. The shock is how normal it can feel to walk past it, how fast commuters learn the safe path. Like the crisis is a fixed feature on the map. A station district like this works like a funnel. New faces are constant, which helps sellers, and it also helps people who want to blend in. Movement is constant too, so it's easy to drift without anyone following you. Support services often sit nearby because the station is easy to reach. Put it together and you get need, street trade, helpers, and enforcement squeezed into the same few streets. It also runs on tiny schedules people don't notice. The scene flips hour by hour. 1 hour you see people sitting and trying to rest. Next hour, you see quick exchanges. Next hour, outreach workers roll through for short check-ins. Next hour, cleaning crews try to reset the ground. Then a wave of commuters rushes in and, for a moment, it hides almost everything. It looks messy, but it repeats. People living inside it can feel the rhythm. Outsiders mostly catch the loudest snapshot. And this is where it gets tricky, because you can't see everything from the sidewalk. You can't always tell who's selling, who's buying, who's sick, who's just exhausted, who's scared, who's watching. A camera can show bodies on a curb, but it can't show the invisible stuff. Debts, threats, favors, protection, and the quiet rules about who stands where. That hidden layer can keep people stuck, and it's why a hotspot can hold the same faces for months. So yeah, it can look worse than you expected. But it's not some curse. It's what happens when a city packs movement, anonymity, and need into the same streets. And once a place gets famous for it, every response is under a spotlight, which pushes quick fixes that change the picture for a day but leave the daily loop intact. The daily loop that makes people look gone. Someone can look zoned out when they're just really stuck in a tight loop with almost no chance to recover. Street life forces that loop because it doesn't allow long sleep, long thinking, or slow healing. Start with sleep. If you don't have a steady room, you sleep in broken pieces. One eye open, one ear listening. You wake up to noise, cold air, fear, or someone telling you to move along. Even if you get a temporary bed, it usually has rules and times that don't match your body. If you're in withdrawal, you might not sleep at all. After enough nights like that, your brain slows down. Your moves get weird. You drift. You stare. People watching think it's only drugs. A lot of times it's drugs plus pure exhaustion. Now add money. People picture big gangs, but most of the street runs on tiny hustles. Picking up bottles, asking for coins, doing quick errands, trading small stuff, taking little risks that look small to you, but feel huge when you have zero backup. When you live hour to hour, you don't build a week, you build the next few hours. That's why people keep coming back to the same corners. That's where the foot traffic is, and that's where the chance is. Now add health. Cuts don't heal well outside. Skin infections spread fast. Teeth fall apart. A small sickness turns serious because you can't rest. If you have chronic pain, you try to quiet it. If you have anxiety, you try to quiet it. If you have trauma, you try to quiet it. The street is full of people trying to manage symptoms with whatever they can find. That mix can create the stiff posture, the slow shuffle, the blank face. Then add fear. When you're exposed all the time, fear becomes background noise. It can make you jumpy. It can make you numb. It can make you doubt helpers. It can make you stick with the only group that feels familiar, even if that group is risky. So the loop isn't just using. It's lack of sleep, survival money, sickness, and fear feeding each other. That's the loop that makes the zombie look people film. And when that loop gets strong, it shapes how someone acts even when they want out. Then comes the comment section question. usually said with anger. Why don't they take the help that's there? The answer is rarely they just refuse. More often, it's a cold calculation about risk. Why just go inside does not work as advice. From the outside, it looks like a choice. From the inside, it can feel like a gamble. Start with the rules. A lot of places make you show up early, miss the time window, and you're out. Some demand you're sober, which is hard when your body is shaking. Some split couples up. Some won't take pets. Some kick you out during the day. Some limit what you can carry. If your whole life is in one bag, that's not a small rule. That's a threat to the last thing you have. Then there's safety. Crowded rooms can be tense. Stuff gets stolen. Arguments happen. Some people have been attacked before and don't trust a dorm-style setup. Some avoid shelters because they worry they'll be judged, reported, or treated like a problem to move along, not a person to help. And some avoid them because they tried once, it went bad, and they can't risk another rough night. Then there's the boring barrier that wrecks people. Paperwork and waiting. If you don't have a stable address, you miss letters. If you don't have ID, you can't do certain steps. If you don't have a phone, you miss calls. Even when you qualify, the process can move slow. And while it moves slow, you still have to survive today. The street gives instant answers, even if they're brutal. The system gives delayed answers, even if they're safer. Add addiction, and the clock shrinks even more. People in deep dependence don't think in months. They think in hours. If treatment takes too long to enter, the street pulls them back. If someone fears withdrawal inside, they avoid it. If they fear getting kicked out for using, they avoid it. If they fear losing their known routine and ending up worse, they stick with the pain they understand instead of betting on something unknown. So when you see someone outside near a hotspot, it doesn't automatically mean they refused help. It can mean the help on offer didn't fit their reality tonight, and that matters because a city that treats it like refusal usually adds pressure. A city that treats it like a mismatch usually fixes access. And when that mismatch becomes visible in a neighborhood, the mood shifts fast. Sympathy turns into frustration. Frustration turns into demands. And demands turn into quick measures meant to restore daily comfort, even if that comfort only lasts until the scene pops up somewhere else. When daily life collides with street life, it starts with little things, and then it piles up. A stairwell that stinks, a doorway where someone sleeps, a bench taken for hours, needle caps near a playground, people yelling at night, shop staff getting harassed, visitors turning around, parents picking a different route. Even people who care about homelessness can hit a breaking point when the same stuff keeps happening right outside their home. Some residents start with compassion, then they burn out. Others go straight to anger. Most people sit in the middle. They feel bad for the person, but they also feel stuck in a situation they didn't choose. And that mix creates pressure. And pressure turns into politics. Businesses add another layer. If customers stop coming, a small shop can go under. Workers avoid late shifts. Security costs go up. Owners demand action. They want fast change because their timeline is days and weeks, not years. So when the city reacts, it often picks what's easiest to show. More patrols, more checks, more pushing people away from doors and entrances. That can quiet a street for a few hours, but it can also push the scene into side streets and parks, so the conflict spreads. And here's the weird part nobody says out loud. The same residents who want the scene gone also don't want it moved to the next street, the next neighborhood, or the next town. Everyone wants it solved, but nobody wants the messy middle stage where solving actually happens. That's why you get half measures. Stuff that hides the problem without reducing the harm. When the scene gets less visible, some people feel relief, others feel dread, because they know what out of sight can mean. People using alone are more likely to die. People pushed into darker corners are more likely to get robbed or assaulted. People moved away from outreach spots are less likely to take help, so the neighborhood feels calmer. But the person's life gets riskier. So what happens when a city chases calm with quick actions? A lot of the time, the street gets harsher. The picture looks better for a moment, then it comes back with extra damage. And that's how a hotspot starts to feel permanent. The quick calm that makes the street harder. Some actions look effective because they change the view right away. You see fewer people in one spot. The street looks normal for a while. Complaints drop, but the people move. And moving isn't harmless when you're already exhausted. When people get pushed again and again, they lose the small routines that kept them going. The outreach worker who knows their name, the clinic route, the place to charge a phone, the corner where someone keeps an eye out. Break enough routines, and a person gets more chaotic, not less. Constant pushing also changes how people use. People use faster. They use in hidden spots. They rush doses. They stop carrying safer supplies because it raises the risk of being searched or stopped. They're less likely to call for help when something goes wrong. Fear makes people hide. Hiding makes overdoses and emergencies more deadly. It also changes the map. When one area gets too pressured, new clusters pop up in quieter places. People who never dealt with it before suddenly see it on their street. Then they panic. Then they demand the same quick fix. The city starts treating the scene like something you can shuffle around. But every shuffle spreads the damage across more neighborhoods. If you want fewer zombie scenes, you need the opposite of shuffling. You need consistency. You need places where basic needs can be met without turning a sidewalk into a clinic. You need exits that are faster than the street, and you need the courage to do work that doesn't look dramatic on camera, what actually shifts the reality. It starts with basics. People need to handle normal human stuff without turning the street into a bathroom and an emergency room. That means staffed toilets and places to wash up that don't feel humiliating. It means regular trash pickup and safe disposal, so the area is safer for everyone. It means spots where people can sit without blocking doors. And it means outreach teams coming back at the same times, over and over, so trust can actually build. Then you've got medical care. People outside get infections, wounds, and chronic problems that spiral because they can't rest. A quick check and simple treatment can stop a small issue from becoming a big emergency. Mental health support matters too, but it has to be reachable in real life, not just technically available. Treatment access has to move faster too. When someone is finally ready, the system has to move fast enough that the street doesn't pull them right back. If there aren't enough spaces, outreach turns into promises that can't be kept. And once people feel like they're being told soon forever, trust collapses, and housing can't be locked behind perfection. A lot of people need a stable room first before they can organize anything else. A room means sleep, hygiene, meds, and appointments can finally stick. Without a room, everything becomes harder, and every small problem turns into a crisis. There's also the part people avoid because it sounds like compromise. Honest public management, not pretending the scene can disappear overnight, but also not letting chaos spread. Clear boundaries, staff presence, and real coordination between helpers and police. So safety is real, but help doesn't feel like a trap. So why does it stall? Why do cities keep going in circles while the street keeps getting worse? Because the fix hits friction at every level. Why the fix keeps getting stuck? One reason is the where fight. People want cleaner streets and fewer overdoses, but they don't want a support site on their block. They worry it will pull the scene closer. Sometimes they're right if the place is understaffed and there's no path to housing. That fear turns into a hard no, and the project dies. Another reason is money. Budgets reward what looks good today. It's easier to pay for patrols than to pay for long-term support, because one looks like action and the other looks like spending. Even when long-term support saves money later, the costs and savings land in different offices. A third reason is staffing. This work is tough. Burnout is real. If you can't hire enough people, services get thin. Thin services turn messy. Messy services create complaints. Complaints create backlash. And then there's the pressure under everything. Housing. When rents climb and cheap rooms disappear, more people slide into instability. If you don't slow the flow in, you never clear the street, no matter how good services are. From the sidewalk, you can't prove every story, and you shouldn't pretend you can. But you can see the pattern. When housing is tight and treatment takes too long, hotspots grow. When support is steady and housing steps are real, hotspots shrink. And that brings us to the fork, because every city ends up picking a direction, even if it avoids saying it out loud. The three directions a city ends up taking. One option is pressure. Make it uncomfortable to stay. Move people on. Remove the spots where people gather. That can make a street look calmer for a while, but it can also make life riskier for the people stuck in it, and it often just pushes the problem into new streets. Another option is we'll allow it, but with no real way out. The city lets one zone exist because non-stop pushing just spreads harm everywhere. The zone becomes predictable, but if treatment takes too long and housing steps stay slow, that zone turns into a permanent street life hub. The hard option is building real capacity and managing it honestly. Staffed support points, quick medical help, faster treatment entry, housing options that don't demand perfection first, and clear public space rules that keep things safe without destroying trust. This one takes money, coordination, and patience, but it's the one that actually shrinks the scenes that shock people over time. If you've made it this far, you can see the pattern. These hotspots don't appear out of nowhere. They form where housing pressure, treatment delays, and public space management collide. And they grow when the response is built around moving the picture instead of breaking the loop. Now I want your take. In your area, what's the biggest driver right now? Housing costs, addiction and treatment access, mental health, or how public space is managed? Drop it in the comments like you're talking to a neighbor. If this helped, hit like and subscribe so we keep tracking what shifts, what gets hidden, and what returns.